Okay, so having made our way across the desert and the lunch stop that wasn't a lunch stop, we finally arrived in the city of Shiraz. Shiraz is the 6th most populous city in Iran and the capital of the Fars province. Its population is about 1.5 million people. It has a moderate climate and has been a regional trade centre for more than 1,000 years. So here we are in Shiraz by night. Shiraz has its main street, sorry about that, called the Zand, which is what we're on now. Plenty of shops, plenty of clothes. The Shirazi are more stylish and sophisticated. I've bought some clothes here myself, not the ones I'm wearing, as you can probably tell. Tomorrow we're going to head out to Persepolis, which is the famous archaeological site here, and other than that, let's walk up and down the Zand, check out the shops. Shiraz is known as a city of poets, literature, wine, which is ironic considering in Islam you can't have it, and flowers. The word shir in Persian means lion. Some of the views of the city are spectacular by day and by night. But the main reason I'd come to Shiraz was to go and visit the ancient city of Persepolis on its outskirts. So we crowded into a local minivan to Mavdasht, where we grabbed a taxi out to Persepolis. Okay, so here we are in our taxi. It's very comfortable and we're heading out to Persepolis. We've made it to Mavdasht in that delightful minivan, which is a compliment to call that a minivan. But anyway, we're heading out, we're going to see how we get on. So here we are at Persepolis, which is about 40 to 50 kilometres outside of Shiraz. This was where the Achaemenid civilization that ruled from 500 to about 300 AD, the height of the Persian Empire, was here, all up until Alexander the Great of Macedonia came here, having knocked off the Greeks, having knocked off the Egyptians. He set his sights on here. He actually enjoyed Persepolis, spent 3 or 4 months here before finally burning the whole thing to the ground, and thus came to the end the Great Persian Empire. Anyway, let's check inside and we'll see what the sights and sounds have to tell us. But when you come here, it's very hot, so bring plenty of water and be prepared, because anything goes at Persepolis. Persepolis, or Takht-i-Jamshid, was the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire from 550 to 330 BC. As I mentioned, it's situated 70 kilometres northeast of Shiraz, and in contemporary Persian the site is known as the Throne of Jamshid. So this is the entrance to the main palace that was built by Xerxes originally. Of course, Xerxes was a great conqueror himself and built the main area here that we're walking through. You'll see some absolutely great designs in terms of the architecture, as well as some of the imagery that you'll see as we go around, which we'll explain a bit more. Let's keep looking. Archaeological evidence shows that the earliest remains of Persepolis date from around 515 BC. A French archaeologist who excavated the area in the 1930s believed that it was Cyrus the Great who chose the site of Persepolis, but ultimately it was Darius the Great who built the terrace and the grand palaces. So here we are finally inside the city of Persepolis. Persepolis originally stretched for over 125,000 square kilometres and ran all the way from the Indus River right through to Ethiopia. When the Greeks came here, they named it after the locals. The locals called it Parsa. The Greek word for city is polis, so it became known as Persepolis, which is what it's called today. Like I say, Xerxes was the great founder here. He built a lot of this stuff, got it up and running, and it's lasted until 200 or 300 years until Alexander the Great came through and took control for himself after beating the Egyptians and the Greeks like we heard earlier. Anyway, let's check out some more of the site, shall we? Persepolis is near the small river Pulwa, which flows into the river Kur, Cyrus. This site includes a 125,000 square metre terrace, partly artificially constructed and partly cut out of a mountain, with its east side leaning on the Mountain of Mercy. The other three sides are formed by retaining walls which vary in height with the slope of the ground from 5 to 13 metres. Darius the Great built the greatest palace of Persepolis on its western side. The palace was called Apadana from the root of the modern word Ivan, meaning the King of Kings, and was used for official audiences. The work began in 515 BC. His son Xerxes completed it some 30 years later, and the palace had a grand hall in the shape of a square with each side over 60 metres long with 72 columns, 13 of which still stand today. Okay, so this is the point at which I've got to explain to you how crazy it was to get into Persepolis. Persepolis took us, probably an hour to get here. It's about 75 kilometres out of town. So you get like a local shuttle bus to the bus terminal, you get another shuttle bus out to Mavdasht. From there you get a taxi out to Persepolis. Takes you quite a while to get here, maybe about 75 kilometres. We got here, and of course remember it's Ramadan. It's actually today the anniversary of Imam Ali's death. So being the anniversary of Imam Ali's death, we got here and everything closed. So the whole place was closed, and we thought, my God, we've come out here in the heat and everything to come all the way from Australia. Jason's journeys cannot be said no to. So what we did was, we went to one guard, the next guard, the next guard. They say no, no, no. Then we meet the supervisor, and he says, if you can get enough people to come to the gate and be angry to open it, we will open it for you. So we go, we gather a group of people. There were 50 of us. We get to the front gate. We demand that they open it. We yell, we scream, and after 30 minutes, they opened it for us and let us in. Can you believe it? Welcome to Iran. This is the system. The site, however, contains other palaces. These include the Tachara Palace, which was built under Darius I, and the Imperial Treasury, which was started by Darius in 510 BC and finished by Xerxes in 480 BC. The Hadish Palace occupies the highest level of the terrace and stands on the rock. The council hall, the palaces and the storerooms and stables and unfinished quarters were located near the southeastern corner of the terrace at the foot of the mountain. As you look from the site itself back over the surrounding countryside, you can see just how impressive it would have been to ancient people coming up towards its grand entrances. It's one of the great sights of Iran, and when you come here you can't help but be impressed and overwhelmed by the history and grandeur of the site. Make sure you come to Persepolis, everyone. Don't go away, because coming up after the break we learn the ancient language of cuneiform. How exciting is that? We go and watch some art and craftsmen, but more importantly we head out to Yazda, the oldest city in the whole earth. So make sure you join us after the break. Don't go away now.